Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for watching my video and do all that good YouTube stuff. Share it, like it, hit the notification bell, thumbs up, subscribe, all the things that you do. Thanks for taking the time to watch my video and saving some money perhaps. I also invite you to check out the links in the description for some long-term savings with the stock market and checking out the links for either E-Trade or M1 where you can save and trade fractional stocks, or Webull, which is usually giving away a couple free stocks for just depositing $100. So I strongly invite you to invest in your future and check them out. Thanks, and let's get to the video. All right, 2013 Honda Civic EX, I believe, replacing the calipers, rotors on this because we seem to have a brake fluid leak here from somewhere. So I know it's already taken apart, but we'll get to this, and I'm sure that everything on this video will help you do the job and get it done. So, of course, you have your tire down there. It's on the car. You jack the vehicle up, use safety stands. There's a bar right here you can jack up on if you want to get both sides up. Jack it up, use safety stands, protect yourself. There's a lot of metal. There's a pinch weld here you can jack up if you're going to do one side at a time. Again, protect yourself. So before the wheel's off the ground, break the lug nuts loose, 19mm lug nuts. Everything is going to be counterclockwise. That's left to loosen, right to tighten. So break all the lug nuts loose. The turner 2, jack up the vehicle as we mentioned. Take the lug nuts off the rest of the way. Then you'll see the caliper mounted here and the rotor on here. The rotor has 2 Phillips screws. And take those out. And then the caliper has 2 bolts. Since we're just doing the caliper, 2 17mm bolts. One here, coming from the back side. Take those bolts out. This should lift off, slide off, and then you can take the rotor off, should slide off as well. And that's pretty easy. These are all the pieces that come off to get to the brakes. Alright, I have my new rotor ready. This is a Raybestos coated rotor. Doesn't require any washing. Most rotors though will have a thin film protecting the rotor during shipment. You want to wash that anti-corrosion, anti-rust material off with some warm soap and water. Just wash the whole rotor, towel dry it, you'll be fine. So, but these are ready to go out of the box to be mounted. So we'll mount that, and then we'll work on putting the caliper together with the brake pads. And we'll be reinstalling, and you'll see how it all goes. You see how it just slides on and slides off for the most part. If it's got some rust, you can spray some penetrant there, maybe tap it with a hammer to get the old one off. Otherwise, there you go, on and off, slides. Pretty easy. Alright, so we got our new caliper bracket, and caliper, some new hardware, and new brake pads. We'll take this apart a little bit. I find it's easier for me to mount this separate from the caliper onto the vehicle. We've got a new, it's called a banjo bolt, and 2 copper gaskets for the brake hose. As long as you have a good set of sockets, it shouldn't matter what the sizes are, because they can change from your replacement part to your old parts. So let's get this taken apart here. Take the lower bolt out only. You can pivot this whole thing, leave that bolt in. It just saves you one step. On the top, closest to the bleeder screw, little bushing setup. So there's a couple variations, so they gave me two types, and we'll check out the old ones, the old calipers, and maybe we'll match them up. So it looks like we got the thin style bracket on here, so we'll use that. Also, this is the passenger side. This slide should go in and out like this. See that? This one does not. So another reason to replace the calipers. Seized caliper slide. That's why you want to check those, which I'll show you when we put it back together. Check those before you take it all apart if you're just doing brake pads, because you might run into that problem. Friction fit, just push down, make sure those tabs are straight, not pointing out. There they are, just friction fit. Push them in, push them out. And that's it. And let's go ahead and mount this on the vehicle. Go ahead and turn the steering wheel to the left or the right to make things a little easier to access. As you can see, just two bolts back here, two 17mm bolts. Not too much to it. And we'll torque those down. All right, 80 foot-pounds of torque for these. Okay, these wear-out indicators are going to be on the inside upper near the bleeder screw. Bleeder screw needs to be up, not down. We put a little lubrication on the contact points. We'll just do this for all of them. You don't want to get that on the pad surface, so you're aware, but do that for all your brake pads, and we can install them on the vehicle. They fit in little slots. Put them in at a little bit of an angle. Maybe you need to push these because there's a little spring action going on, so push back on these back parts and it should drop into place. When you're taking this apart, you will find springs inside here like these. So just watch out for them when you're taking it apart. It might pop out on you. So the little holes on there, that's what it'll look like. And we can drop the new caliper on here. Those will just kind of pop the brake pads out, probably on their own with the spring tension, so we'll leave those out until we're ready to drop the caliper down. A little flat edge here. I like to make sure the flat edge hits the flat edge of the caliper. Hope that's close enough for you. And we'll put the bolt in and tighten it down to, I believe, 20 foot-pounds. So for the brackets, 80 foot-pounds. For that bolt, it's 25 foot-pounds. For the lug nuts, it's 80 foot-pounds. For the banjo bolt, for the brake line, is 26 foot-pounds. I'm going to zip the banjo bolt out of the old caliper and install our new bolt and two new washers. And certainly if you don't get a new banjo bolt, just clean everything up with a rag. Try and get new copper washers though. As an example, the old banjo bolt is 12 millimeter and the new one I believe is going to be 11 millimeter. .26 foot-pounds. Take this off, open up the bleeder screw. We'll let gravity do some work and hopefully force some brake fluid out of here in a little bit. You'll see fluid, bubbles, and fluid. We want to get a nice stream of fluid. And here we'll have an assistant help us by pushing on the brakes. And then we'll be opening and closing the bleeder to force the air out. Sometimes it takes a minute or two. Oh, there we go. Speak of the devil. Here comes the fluid. Not much in the way of bubbles, I guess. So, as I talked about, you want to check these things out before you just go ahead and plan on putting brake pads and rotors on. If you're just doing brake pads, you want to get in here with a screwdriver and you want to pry in here. Pushing outward, that's going to push the piston back in. Hopefully the slides will work. You can't see much, but the slides are moving. That's what you want to check for. As we saw, one of the slides wasn't working, so I would do that. And I would also then just take out this lower bolt. You should be able to swing this up without taking the other bolt out, though it's not a big deal. And then you can also check your slides that way. But check your slides and make sure the piston collapses before you just start throwing pads on it. Check both sides. So you have the hood open. Here's the brake master cylinder right here. It's got a cap. Screws on, screws off. Drops in these grooves. There's a maximum line here and then a minimum line down there. Just want to keep the fluid level above minimum. It's pretty darn clean right now. It's right here. Just when you're collapsing pistons, if you're going to be collapsing the pistons, fluid can come up and come out, and brake fluid can damage paint. So just keep an eye on the fluid level. Use a turkey base or a clean rag and absorb it so it doesn't go all over the place, I suppose. But now we can fill this up and get ready to bleed with the help of an assistant. That's what we'll do. So they'll be pumping the brake pedal a few times and then they'll hold it down. While they're holding it down, we're going to open up the bleeder screw and then we're going to have fluid and maybe some air come out, and then we'll shut it and then they can let up on the brake pedal. Then they'll pump it again a few times, 3 or 4 times, and hold it down, applying pressure, so force fluid through the hose and through the caliper. Then we'll open this up again, fluid will come out. We'll do it 2 or 3 times, 4 times. I guess we'll do it whatever's necessary to make sure there's no air in the system, which can affect the brake pedal and brake performance. So that's the basic overview, what's happening in the car when we're bleeding. Alright, so he's in there pumping away. Gonna get some fluid out probably. There's a little shot of fluid. Ugh. We'll open it up. Blub, 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 blub. Shut it. Go ahead and pump it, please. Ask nicely. Open up. Go ahead and pump it, please. Probably depending on how hard they're pushing is how much of a stream you'll get. So we're looking good here. Do the other side. All right, pump it. And pump it. Got some brake pus coming out of here. It's looking good. We'll do one more. Go ahead, pump it. There we go. Bodacious. All right, that's good. I'll finally pump the brake pedal a couple times just to get everything set. Verify our fluid level. Put our cap on. Maybe clean up the calipers a little bit. Get yourself a can or two of brake clean. Spray this off a little bit. Put the bleeder screw cap on. And we'll put the wheels on shortly. Start all nuts and bolts by hand. Because what's called a torque stick, blue torque stick, rated at 80 foot-pounds of torque. Tighten in a crisscross star pattern, and we'll do the same for both sides, and we'll final check it with a torque wrench. That is replacing your front brake pads, front brake rotors, front brake calipers on your 2013 and I'm sure other model years Honda Civic. Pump the brakes a few times before you let anyone drive it to make sure they're actually working properly. Good luck to you.